Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SFNL Division 1 Netball Show. I'm Hugh McLean, this lady is
Michaela Bolte,
and we're here bringing you everything to do with Division 1 Netball. Top stories, Michaela, take us away.
We've got Morty Alec back on the winners list, the natural order restored, Dingley and Heatherton back on top, an Interleague preview, and Hugh, we might quickly throw to you for some injury updates.
Yes, I've got one, only one, but Sarah McCabe from Oakley District, she got brought in for her first game this season. She lasted about 10 minutes. Ankle, no good, ice packs on, whole shooting match. And that was the end of Sarah for the day. So, look, get well soon, mate. We hope you are back on the court very soon.
Fingers crossed there. We're going to jump straight into our round 5 recap. All very big margins this week, with Cheltenham 36 defeated by Heatherton 53. And by looking at it, that's our closest game of the round. Mm-hmm. Now, watching this game, Hugh, what can you tell us about it?
Well, it was close up until just before half-time. Heatherton scored the last 4 goals of the first half to take a 5-goal lead into the half-time break, and after that it was one-way traffic pretty much. Very dominant third quarter, and while Cheltenham started the last quarter well, once Heatherton got a little bit of a roll together, Cheltenham tied very quickly. So look, it's been a big first month of the competition for Cheltenham. This was a bit of a downer for them. You expect that in the young side, but this Heatherton side surprised everyone so far.
Yeah, very interesting to see that result, but obviously Heatherton just had age on top of them, I think, and that maturity helped them get across the line. Our next game, Morty Alec 40 defeated St Paul's 28. Now, obviously a very big win for Morty Alec, and talking on the side of the courts, Morty Alec were just there for a win. They brought their best game, and they weren't going to be messed around by anyone.
That was the best they've played this season. They certainly approached the game like a side that had a real bee in their bonnet about what had happened in the previous 3 weeks, and were just not to be trifled with at all. Still a few little things that they need to iron out. There was a definite inconsistency in intensity throughout the game. Certainly the last quarter they dropped off fairly noticeably, but they certainly did enough to win the game. So better performance, but still improvement yet.
Yeah, and obviously watching that game, Morty Alec was just too strong, but St Paul's had some great run of play still, so will be interesting to see how they come out after Interleague.
I still think a win's close for this side.
Yeah, and obviously they've had a lot of growth since they were last in Div 1, and hopefully they can get a few wins on the board before the end of the season. And our last game for Div 1 was Oakley District 29 defeated by Dingley 59. So a very big win there by Dingley, and something that couldn't be predicted before the game.
Not that margin, no. Look, I think Dingley certainly justified in being thought of as competition favourites at this point, this early stage. Oakley had a couple out. Not enough to suggest that would be the margin, I don't think. Rattled it a little bit by Sarah McCabe going down so early as well. But Dingley were just too good.
Yeah, and I know that Oakley were also affected by VNL commitments, but rightly so, probably Dingley were as well. But Dingley were just very polished and found Oakley's, I guess, flaws in a sense, and sort of utilised that to their advantage. So it was a interesting game to watch, but I don't think in any of our 3 games that we've seen from the week, the score reflects the game.
I think if you play those games the next time they come round in 7 or 8 weeks' time, I don't think you see scores like that.
No, and I think that that was just interesting to see on the courts, and obviously the scores didn't reflect how close they were, especially in that Heatherton-Cheltenham game.
Yeah, indeed. Just quickly, something that you brought back to my mind, I do have another injury.
Yes.
And it is another Oakley person, sadly. Nat Billings, the shooter, who has been one of the elite shooters in this competition for a good 4 or 5 years now. Nat has broken bone in one of her knees. And that's going to be the season for Nat, sadly. So we won't be seeing her pull on the Oakley dress this year. So again, we wish you a very quick recovery and hope to see you back out on the court very soon.
Yeah, and hopefully recovery goes well for you, Nat. All the best with that. Now, Hugh, on Saturday before the matches, we were able to jump into a couple of interviews with Emma and Nicole.
We nearly got hit by a car in the car park, didn't we?
I was a bit concerned with you and Emma. Probably not the best spot for an interview, but just grabbed her before she jumped on court, which was great to see. And both girls were very interesting to talk to and had some insights for us.
Yes, it's the new injury condition at Mordiality is now known as Delaney back.
Yes, and I think Nicole got some slack for being injured in the warm-up, and she's given us the challenge.
That was in the warm-up.
Yeah, she's given us the challenge to try and get her name in the show, not based on an injury further on in the season.
Well, she's got to get back on the court first.
Yeah, let's hope that happens soon so we can achieve that for her. And obviously speaking to Emma Hugh, she had some great insights to how she's feeling about Interleague coming up this weekend.
Yeah, certainly. And very impressive character, Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
Look, shall we throw to those interviews?
Yeah, let's throw to them and see what the girls have to say.
Okay.
We have Nicole here from Mordiality, and obviously injured at the moment. And how do you reckon the team's going with everything? And obviously you've had a lot of movement in the team.
Yeah, a lot of movement in the team. We're actually doing really well. It's hard because it's been our goalers that have been out, so it makes it really difficult. We have new goalers every week, but I think we're starting to gel. And just, I mean, I don't know what else we can do, If we're all dropping like flies, we can only do so much. But yeah, we're very positive and working through it, so yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you injured your back last week. How long are you out for, or have you had any news on that?
Yeah, so I think everyone knows I was injured in the warm-up. So I've just irritated my disc, which I've done before. So luckily next week's Interleague, so that's another week, and I'm hoping to come back after that. But yeah, I mean, just see how it goes. It's feeling heaps better than last week, so that's a positive. So hopefully 2 weeks I'll be back.
All right, fingers crossed for the team. Now, we've heard about Heatherton's and Oakley's fake tan Thursdays, and some eyelashes going on there, and as well as Cheltenham with some fake nails. Is there anything in the Mordiality camp going on?
I mean, not that I know. I think Katie DeGarris has enough tan for all of us usually, so we just leave that up to her. I think there's too many of us getting injured every week. I think that's our thing. We just get injured and then we can't play. So
okay. All right. Well, let's hope that for your sake that changes.
Yes, definitely.
And maybe
definitely.
you guys need to adopt the fake tan Thursday instead.
We might need to think of something. Yeah.
And have something going on for Mordiality.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys have St Paul's today. How's the team feeling about that?
Yeah, good. I mean, I think we can only go up from here, really, the way we've been going. We've done some really good things on court. It's just consistency for all 4 quarters. So I think we're really positive today, feeling really good. So, yeah, I think we're going to come out with a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And also some new players into the team today. Who have you got in the goal circle?
So we've got Grace Malloy's come in, who's a good goaler, consistent, and I think she'll do really well. And who else have we got? I think of just Kayla's coming around, but she's in consistently now. So it's really just Grace, another shooter, who I think will play really well.
Yeah, and Grace has VNL experience, so something very good for the club that I'm sure you guys are excited about. We wish you the best of luck today.
Thank you.
We hope that no more injuries occur, fingers crossed. And especially not in the warm-up. And we wish you all the best and hopefully get another win on the board. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we have Emma Thompson here from the Heatherton Netball Club. First thing, Emma, congratulations on your Interleague selection.
Thank you.
Something that you had aspired to at the start of the season?
Yeah, definitely. It's my first season playing footy netball this year, and I heard about it, and I thought, what a good opportunity to go and meet people and, get more exposure. And
Fabulous. Well, your form in the early rounds of the season certainly warranted it. Heatherton's a side that we really didn't know much about coming into the season, pretty much newly reconstructed side. What are your ambitions as a side for the year?
Oh, definitely at least make final, top 4. I think they were unlucky last year, they didn't make it, so I think we're trying to do a bit better than last year and hopefully take out the premiership.
all. Certainly your shooting division especially is something that's been very impressive over the first couple of rounds of the year.
Yep.
How highly do you rate those against other shooters that you've seen?
Well, I think we've got quite a strong attack. We have good thing about having good shooters is we have strong goal attack and a goal shooter. It's quite hard to often find two.
Yeah.
In regards to the other competition, I think they're pretty strong as well. But as long as we can work hard in our defensive unit, I think we can work to shut them down. It always helps having good shooters.
Okay, now you basically play in the mid-court, and
Yep.
from what I've seen, you personally haven't been beaten this season yet. Who's been your hardest opponent so far?
Probably Dom in last week's round. I think she plays for Bears.
Yeah, she doesn't stop moving, does she?
No, not at all. She's got quite strong defensive pressure as well, which is quite tough. But I
And
think
you'll be playing against her, playing with her, I should
With
say,
her.
in the Interleague.
yeah, no, it should be good. Good to have her on the team, sort of playing against her.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, you've got the young side from Cheltenham today.
Yep.
Now they're going to move the ball very quickly, and they're going to be very fast off the ground at the pace. You feel you're able to counter that?
I hope so. I don't know much about Cheltenham. I haven't really seen them play. But I think if we just work together and do what we've been doing, we can take it out, hopefully.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
good luck today, and good luck next week up in Romsey.
Thank you.
And all the best to you.
Thank you.
Now, Hugh, there were some very interesting interviews, and it was amazing to catch up with those girls and have a little bit of an inside goss about Heatherton and Morty Alec. And we wish the best to Emma for Interleague this weekend, and Nicole with her rehab for her back, and hopefully she's back on the court soon.
Two quality young ladies and two of many that we have down at the course.
Yeah, and Hugh, I think you're going to give us a goal tally and see who's taking out the top spot of most goals scored.
Yeah, so leading goal shooters. From the top, we have Annabelle Gorman from Cheltenham, 131 goals for the season. Sophie O'Shea, the hardy perennial from Caulfield, 116. Renee Derenboglu from St Paul's, 114. Gabby Dwyer, the Oakley's new VNL shooter, 104. Monique Lenahan Mustafa from Dingley, 88. And Kayla Lulanting from Mordialloc, 79. And that's only from 3 games. So
Yeah, some very high results there, and also some close results. So there
Yeah.
could be some change amongst that throughout the next few rounds.
yeah, well, there's some very good shooters snapping at the heels of the top 6. So
Yeah.
yes, we'll see a bit of a change there.
And on that, we're going to have a look at our leaderboard and our ladder to see how we're going after 5 rounds.
Okay, so Dingley leading the way on 16 points.
Yeah.
And a massive percentage of 170.8. So they're not only winning, but they're winning very well. Heatherton and Oakley District second and third on 12 points. As we touched on before, I don't think either of us had Heatherton as second place.
No.
And certainly they have done a fine job in the first 5 rounds. And certainly they're on merit. So good luck to them. Mordy Alec back in the 4 on 8
Yeah,
points.
with a healthy percentage too, at 102%. So they've actually got a higher percentage than Oakley, which is interesting to see that they've won games by more of a margin.
Yeah, and their losses have been close ones. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. They've been in games, but they haven't been winning them.
Yeah.
Cheltenham only out of the 4 on percentage, also on 8 points. Caulfield on 4. Now, are we going to see Caulfield climb this ladder, Mac?
I'm hoping we will. Fingers crossed. Obviously, we didn't have a game Saturday, so hopefully having a couple of weeks off might be beneficial to the girls. But I guess time will tell, and we'll see how we go with a couple of games coming up.
And finally, in 7th place, St Paul's, yet to open their account, but as I was saying before, I really can't see that a win's too far away for them. They're playing good netball.
Yeah, and obviously Caulfield and St Paul's percentage is very close there, so that's very interesting to see as well. Now, Hugh, we're going to go to your favourite segment of the show that is called
Under the Bus. And who are we throwing under the bus this week, Michaela? They've got a few people from Caulfield's Ladies' Day, haven't we?
Yeah, so obviously Caulfield had their Ladies' Day, which was in support of White Ribbon Campaign on the weekend. Hence, we had so many buys across the board. But some funny things that came up was Prue McGowan from one of our lower divisions, actually our Div 2 side, watched the show, and Hugh, she loved your little joke about staying clear of the bear cave.
Actually, Prue, just to let you know, that wasn't a joke. That was completely and utterly serious.
And she was telling a fair few people on arrival about that. So, Prue, there you go. There's a little mention. We also had Megan Allett. Now, I don't believe she showed up to Ladies' Day, but a source says that she was seen out later that night having a dance.
So she was picking and choosing her social events.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure there, so that might be something to...
I don't know about that one, Megan.
Megan.
That could be a club fine.
Yeah. And Sarah White, one of our new coming players, she had a fine night. She spilt some red wine on her lovely white top.
It's easy to do.
And later on that night, she was going to be rocking the Hannah Montana look for a themed party. So
Not quite so easy to do.
yeah, she was ready to go for that, that's for sure. And our last one for Bears is Kelly from our Division 3 side.
That'd be Kelly Arthur, wouldn't it?
It would. Mm-hmm. She also had her hens party, so at the Ladies' Day.
So hens party at the netball club.
Yeah, well, actually, by sounds of it, Kelly's going pretty hard and having a fair few hens days. So,
so this is hens day number 1 of about 15, is it?
I think about 3 or 4, but that's all right. We'll
okay.
go for 15. I'm sure it will feel like that for Kelly. But yeah, some drinks and cocktails were had there to celebrate. So, Kelly, obviously, good luck with your up and coming wedding.
Kelly Arthur Groundhog Day.
I wouldn't go that far. Kelly's a lovely lady, and she deserved to win Wear the Bride-to-Be sash on Ladies' Day.
Well done to you, Kelly.
Yes.
Now, Frankston Dolphins, there's something happening over there, isn't there, mate?
Yeah, so they're actually having one of their first functions with the football netball club. Obviously, this is Frankston's first year having a netball side, and they're having an op shop themed function. Where you need to wear the ugliest op shop outfit you can find. So I'm sure there'll be some great photos and costumes from that. And I believe there's a shuffle of songs as well. So you buy a song, and if your song's the last one to play, you have a prize. So great to see Frankston Dolphins getting around the football netball culture, being their first year. And we wish them all the best with their first function. And hopefully we get some beautiful photos of the ugly attire worn from op shops. We'll be able to put on the show maybe.
Indeed. Now, Mac, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
You have a Ladies' Day.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a Ladies' Day, and you're there for a good few hours. What's the drink of choice at Ladies' Day, generally speaking?
From me or from
Just in
the
general.
girls?
Just in general.
Oh, well, cocktails, because it
Cocktails?
was unlimited cocktails was part of the package.
Okay.
So,
and a good selection of wines, I suppose, yeah?
I think a few after cocktails. So
afters,
cocktails were the flavour of choice at the start, but the wine later on.
And for, 3-4 hours, you'd be drinking water?
Oh, yeah, I was on the water. Yeah.
That's not really the theme, is it?
I was being a responsible person, Hugh. You should be supporting this.
Responsible Mac.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have responsible Mac here. Good job one of us is.
I just thought, why not?
Okay, topic of the week.
I'm crazy enough without drinking, Hugh. So
yes, well, I'm not going to argue with
my
that one.
question is, how did you find this out?
Oh, look, I have my sources.
Oh, I'm a bit concerned who's the blabbermouth from the bear cave at the moment.
I have my sources, and there's plenty to choose from.
Okay, well, I'll be keeping a close eye on the bears and who's speaking to Hugh.
Topic of the week.
I'm glad it's not my drink choice.
Okay.
But it is relating to Interleague. Obviously, Interleague is coming up this weekend. But it's whether to have a standalone A and B grade netball Interleague teams. So to have an A and a B open team, and whether that should be part of Interleague and we should have a B grade representative side.
Now, we certainly did that about 4, maybe 5 years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we had both an A side that was pretty much chosen from Division 1 and a B side that had a bit of Division 1 content, but was more chosen from Division 2 and maybe 1 or 2 Division 3 players as well. So it was a little bit broader in its selection. So the question is, should we run an A and a B side, or should we just stick to the one representative side? So please let us know your thoughts. It's on the GameFace SFNL Netball group. We'll bring you the results next week.
Yeah, so interesting to see that what everyone thinks there. And obviously last week, reflecting on Sue's interview, we had the question as to whether the league, and we've got the words cherry pick players up on the screen for Interleague, or whether the clubs should nominate. And obviously our results were very interesting, and some interesting comments and discussion at the courts. But 75% said the league should select, while only 25% said clubs should nominate. So an interesting result there, and obviously something that is hard to pick and hard to put policies in place for.
If we did have an A and B league side, you could have one of each, couldn't you?
You could, and I think ideally, in an ideal world, we'd have a mixture of league selection and club nominations. And from talking before the show, that's actually what some leagues do. They utilise the team of the year from the previous year. So say this year it would be the 2018 team of the year, and then each club nominates 1 or 2 players to then go into a pool of players, which is then selected from. So it would be interesting to see what happens in 2020 and to see what the league comes out with. Obviously, there's the new ruling they've brought in, Hugh, with the match bans if you don't take your selection in the team. And I guess that's something that's hot in discussion at the moment as well.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's no Division 1 matches this week.
No.
Means we can't talk about any.
But something we can talk about is, Hugh,
Yes?
your form in the tipping has dropped drastically.
Well, I'm thinking, handicap event rather than a sprint.
Nah.
I'm thinking I'll just let you get a couple in front and I'll chase you down.
Is it like the sympathy vote?
It is the sympathy vote.
Well, I strongly disagree. And last week I got 3 from 3 games, and Hugh, you got 2 from 3, so not a bad effort, but I just happened to be better.
Now, before we go any further, anyone who took that comment seriously and thinks that I would underestimate Michaela Bolte in any way, shape or form obviously doesn't know anything about Michaela Bolte. So, yes.
And are you just trying to cover your back that on the leaderboard I'm 11 out of 12 and you're only 9 out of 12?
There is a long way to go, Miss Bolte.
There is, but I've just got to enjoy this while I'm ahead and while I'm getting the perfect 3 from 3. But obviously very close there, so I guess it will be interesting to see what happens in the next coming weeks.
So here's a question, Matt. Will we win Interleague?
Oh, you really put me on the spot there, Hugh. I'm not sure. I hope we do, but I think this is a bit of an unfair assessment because we don't have any knowledge on the league we are playing. So,
I think this is the best Interleague squad I've seen in the 4 or 5 years that I've been in this.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong team, and I'm just hoping that they've had a couple of really solid sessions under their belt, which has helped them be prepared for the drive and travel and game following on the Saturday. And my concern is obviously with the travel. Being on the day of the match isn't ideal. And just seeing what happens there with the girls, and hopefully they're still able to come out strong.
We've got really experience and strength in every department here. in Kirsten Daly and Kate DeGaris, we've got defenders of good size that won't be pushed around
Not
by
at all.
attackers, and also agility to go with that. Also excellent readers of the play.
Yeah.
So at the other end of the court, Renee Derenboglu really is a very consistent tall shooter. You've got Alex Seedley and Kayla Lulanting, who have got the, use the word agility again, and have got the smarts to go around Renee as well.
Yeah.
And of course, the middle of the court, Maggie Carlin's one of the best passers of the ball in this competition. Dawn Westcombe won't stop running.
Yeah.
Tiff McConnell, we know, has got the experience and the know-how. Emma Thompson, same again. So look, as I say, this is a side that hasn't got too many weaknesses that I can see.
No.
And we certainly wish them well for the trip up.
Yeah, and obviously reflecting on the team, this would have to be, I guess, the most marquee players that we've got from the league in donning the white, red and blue dress on the weekend. So hopefully we do come away with a win and, as we said in the earlier shows, make some history for the league with our first netball win in Interleague in our open division. And obviously having a quick look at our 19s, again, some really some strong youth in there, some really strong players, and hopefully they'll be able to come out really strong and potentially win our second under 19s Interleague.
There's big raps on a few of these girls. Olivia May, I know, has been very well spoken up by her own club. Moranbina, they really very keen on what she can do. Steph Peacock was very close to the senior squad last year. Tian Wills and Meg Nichols at Maudie Alec. I mean, I know you know a bit about Meg.
Yeah.
Tian has been amongst the best 2 or 3 players on the court in every match that she's played for Maudie Alec so far this year. So, again, there's a lot of strength in this side.
Yeah, and obviously Meg there, she's a player that wears her heart on her sleeve and will give everything 100%. So we wish them all the best for Interleague, both our Open and 19 side, and we'll be watching with a close eye for some updates during the day, and hopefully you guys can come away with the silverware and enjoy wearing the SFNL dress. So that brings us to a wrap for this week, and we thank you for watching the show and supporting us. Obviously this week marked our first Division 2 to 10 show as well, so some exciting content coming for those divisions too.
Huge thanks to our sponsors.
Yes.
Bendigo Bank, Caulfield Park. I can't do the arm movements this week.
I know,
they're not there.
disappointing.
1111 Fitness and Swiv's Locket. Thank you very much for your support, people.
And just a reminder, we will be having a show next week to reflect on Interleague and how that all went.
And also to cast an eye on the upcoming games for the following week.
Yes, and we wish, as we mentioned, the best of luck to our Interleague sides. And we'll be watching with a close eye, and hopefully we come away with some wins.
And
remember,
get
your game face on.